Welcome to the session on safeguarding and child protection in education. The key objectives of this module are to ensure you are clear about what action to take if you are worried about a child and how to escalate your concerns, to remind you of your responsibilities when working alongside children or young people, including how to work safely, to develop an understanding of the signs and symptoms of child abuse, to identify the procedures for sharing concerns about another adult's behavior in line with GEM's whistleblowing procedures. Please read the context of the module before we proceed. By the end of this module, you will understand the various signs and symptoms of child abuse. Be clear about the actions to be taken concerning child protection and safeguarding. Be aware of your responsibilities when working alongside children or young people, including how to work safely. Identify the procedures for sharing concerns about another adult's behavior in line with GEM's whistleblowing procedures. Here are the key features of child protection: anti-bullying policy, behavior management, a listening school, governance, whistleblowing, health and safety, safer recruitment and selection, staff code of conduct and safer working practice, the school environment, buildings and security, e-safety, curriculum, SEN and inclusion, attendance, exclusions and children missing education. Safeguarding and promoting the welfare of children refers to the process of protecting children from maltreatment, preventing the impairment of health or development, ensuring that children grow up in circumstances consistent with the provision of safe and effective care, and taking action to enable all children to have the best outcomes. Child protection refers to the processes undertaken to protect children who have been identified as suffering, or being at risk of suffering significant harm. For the next few slides, you will go through the roles of a designated safeguarding lead. Here are the roles of a deputy designated safeguarding lead. The following are the law and guidance set within the UAE. UAE Federal Law No. 3 of 2016 on Children's Rights. UAE Department for Health, School Health Guidelines for Private Schools 2011. UAE School Inspection Framework, Section 5 The Protection, Care, Guidance and Support of Students. Have you heard of Federal Law No. 3, also known as Waydima's Law? Here is what you need to know. It's a law to protect children from abuse and neglect, and support their right to safety, health care and education. Introduced. For the first time, anyone in contact with a child can be held accountable for causing harm, and is legally obliged to report cases of suspected abuse. If a child's life is in danger, the government now has the authority to go and remove the child to safety. Anyone who breaks the law faces a fine of up to 50,000 dirhams, and up to 10 years in prison for physical or sexual abuse or criminal negligence of children. We will now look into various signs of abuse. The four categories of abuse are physical, emotional, sexual, and neglect. Physical abuse. A form of abuse which may involve hitting, shaking, throwing, poisoning, burning or scalding, drowning, suffocating, or otherwise causing physical harm to a child. Physical harm may also be caused when a parent fabricates the symptoms of or deliberately induces illness in a child. Emotional abuse is the persistent emotional maltreatment of a child, such as to cause severe and persistent adverse effects on the child's emotional development. It may involve conveying to children that they are worthless or unloved, inadequate, or valued only insofar as they meet the needs of another person. It may include not giving the child opportunities to express their views, deliberately silencing them or making fun of what they say or how they communicate. Sexual abuse involves forcing or enticing a child or young person to take part in sexual activities, not necessarily involving a high level of violence, whether or not the child is aware of what is happening. The activities may involve physical contact, including assault by penetration or non-penetrative acts such as masturbation, kissing, rubbing and touching outside of clothing. They may also include non-contact activities, such as involving children in looking at or in the production of sexual images, watching sexual activities, encouraging children to behave in sexually inappropriate ways, or grooming a child in preparation for abuse. Sexual abuse is not solely perpetrated by adult males. Women can also commit acts of sexual abuse, as can other children. The fourth category of abuse is neglect. What does neglect look like in your school context? You may pause the module and reflect on this question before you proceed. Neglect is the persistent failure to meet a child's basic physical and/or psychological needs, likely to result in the serious impairment of the child's health or development. Neglect may occur during pregnancy as a result of maternal substance abuse. What leads to neglect? Provide adequate food, clothing and shelter. Failing to protect a child from physical and emotional harm or danger. Failure to ensure adequate supervision or failure to ensure access to appropriate medical care or treatment. It may also include neglect of, or unresponsiveness to, a child's basic emotional needs. Please pause the module and reflect on the statements on the screen, if they are true or false. Let us now look into managing concerns and dealing with disclosure.
We've made significant progress in terms of child safety and child protection here in the UAE over the last few years. At GEMS Education, we take this matter incredibly seriously, and so we always work towards world-class standards. This may mean, therefore, that the standards and expectations here are higher than they have been at schools you've worked at previously. You may also find that the laws here in the UAE are different to the laws in your home country, so please make sure that you understand the law well. The best advice I think I can give you is to remain vigilant at all times, and if in doubt, report something. We would much rather you report something that turns out to not be a child safety issue than not report something that does. We all have a duty to make sure that we build a culture of safeguarding and child protection within our schools. And together we will keep children safe and save lives.
Pastoral care in school. All staff needs to know how to identify signs and symptoms of abuse, the relevant child protection procedures, how to talk to children about whom there are concerns, the designated safeguarding lead, DSL, and deputy DSL and their role in child protection. Duty to refer. All professionals have a legal duty in the UAE to refer cases where abuse is known to have occurred or is suspected. No professional has the right or responsibility to withhold information or to respect a child's or a young person's wish for confidentiality. GEMS has an online secure safeguarding platform and a dedicated head of safeguarding and child protection to provide advice and guidance to frontline staff. Confidentiality versus information sharing. The majority of cases we deal with arise from knowledge of the children and our observations. This enables us to build a picture over time that might constitute child abuse protection concern, also known as safeguarding jigsaw. Another aspect of our work is dealing with disclosures when children tell us about something. Allowing children to talk and dealing with disclosure. Here are some helpful ideas. Take what you are being told seriously. Listen carefully. Do not interrupt. Acknowledge what you have been told. Remain calm. Reassure. Tell them they have done the right thing. Tell them you will have to pass the information on and who you will be telling and why. Pass to your DSL without delay. Always keep in mind. Do not investigate. Do not look shocked or distasteful. Do not probe. Do not speculate. Do not pass an opinion about the alleged perpetrator. Do not make negative comments. Do not promise to keep a secret. Do not display disbelief. Never delay getting help. Please pause the module and take a look at the do's and don'ts in the role of staff in safeguarding children. If you have a concern, report it to your designated safeguarding lead, DSL, or to the deputy DSL within the school. Children talk about their concerns when school feels a safe place to be. Children's views and contribution are respected. Adults and children are respectful of each other. There is a culture of openness, honesty and trust. Staff allow children to be heard. There is space for privacy. Self-esteem is high. What is holding me back? What will stop me? What if I'm wrong? I'm not very confident. I don't know the child very well. I've reported before and had a bad experience. I don't know who to talk to. It's not my job. Someone else will pass it on. I will do it tomorrow. I have not got the time. It doesn't happen to families here. Over-identifying with the parent or carer. Someone else must already know this. Why will I pass it on? At this school we take safeguarding seriously. I know our school procedure. I know who to pass it to. I know what is expected of me. It is my responsibility. This is serious and important. Children spend more time in school than any other place. After parents, school staff are often the next adults a child will respond to. The indicators of abuse are present. Abuse investigations often highlight a failure to act. Our responsibility: to promote the safest learning and working environments for the children in our care. Remember that anyone who has contact with children is in a position of trust. We all have a personal responsibility to act properly and professionally. We all have a responsibility to safeguard and promote the welfare of children and young people. Please pause the module and reflect on the statements on the screen, if they are true or false. We will now look into safer working practice and allegations against adults. What should I do? Be aware and alert to signs of injury, neglect or distress. Listen to what the child is saying, but do not quiz them. Reassure the child that they have not done anything wrong and can be helped. Record what you have noticed or have been told. Report your concerns to the designated safeguarding lead in person. If you are not able to do so, alert the deputy DSL or the principal of the school. Do not leave the school premises that day if you have a safeguarding concern. Be discreet. Do not alert the alleged abuser and only share the concern or information with relevant colleagues. Complete school documents. Protect yourself from allegations. Be in view, don't cover windows. Respond to children but be professional. Don't make children sit on your lap. Avoid endearment. Never physically reprimand a student. Here are some safer working practice that all need to follow. Your behavior should be open and transparent. You must adopt high standards of personal conduct. Your behavior in or out of school must not compromise your position within the school. Avoid being alone with a student behind a closed, windowless door. Never give an individual student a gift that is not part of the rewards policy. Never give your personal mobile number or personal email address to a student. Be aware of the dangers of social networking sites. Be aware of and follow the expectations of the GEMS Safer Working Practice Guidance. Challenging and reporting worrying behavior and practice by adults. Whistleblowing policy. Self-report, if you think you got it wrong or may be misinterpreted. Voice your concerns, suspicions or uneasiness as soon as possible. Pinpoint what practice is concerning you and why. Don't think, what if I'm wrong? Think, what if I'm right? Please pause the module and reflect on the statements on the screen, if they are true or false. We are now at the end of the module. Here is a checklist of the things you need to know. Thank you for taking up the Child Protection and Safeguarding module. Stay safe.